KREM 2 made a commitment to our military and families that we would provide voices to those who felt silenced far too long.
There's some power in that wall.
To elevate the stories that have quietly passed with time, but that the next generation needs to know.
He was all wounded, he couldn't do much, but he threw himself on the grenade and saved everybody in the foxhole.
Salute to service is not just a catchphrase, but a dedication to honor the men and women who have served. Whether it is a card at home,
thank you for your service,
or a package that's sent across the world. And we believe that all people, those who are here,
live a life worth their sacrifice,
and those who live within the hearts and minds of loved ones deserve to be acknowledged.
All the ones that are on the wall here are part of us.
Welcome to the KREM Cares Salute to Service Special. This special is meant to honor the men and women who are serving and those who have served, but it is also designed to let you know how to get involved. Thank you for joining us. I'm Laura Papetti. And often we hear people saying they would love to support our military men and women, but they aren't sure how. Well, we're going to tell you how you can help simply by writing a holiday note or donating some household items. So whatever time of the year it is, we have you covered. This is KREM Cares Salute to Service. And here at KREM 2, we are so proud of our veterans and work hard to honor their service and sacrifice. This includes our commitment to a local organization that takes our veterans to Washington, D.C. to see the memorials built in their honor.
I asked my dad one time, because he was a World War II vet, I asked him, how can I honor the sacrifice that he and his brothers made? And he told me, he said, live a life worth their sacrifice. So I'll leave you with that.
A monetary donation can help give our men and women a trip of a lifetime with Inland Northwest Honor Flight. So if you would like to donate, take a moment, take out your phone and scan the QR code in the bottom corner of your screen. A chance to say goodbye and a chance to feel honored. That's what Inland Northwest Honor Flight veterans tell us when they travel with the nonprofit. KREM Cares has made a commitment to support our military families and honor our veterans. Recently, I traveled with Honor Flight to share the stories of the organization and let people know how they can honor those who have served. Pictures are part of the process when you travel on any Honor Flight trip. On this fall day, over 100 men and 2 women veterans strike a pose at the World War II Memorial.
I moved. Good job.
But what the camera can't capture is the why behind each person's decision to come.
It gives me a closeness whenever I've only been to the Vietnam Wall once, but even just being with veterans provides me, I definitely feel closer to him.
Christine Blinksma is on the trip as a volunteer. She wanted to help veterans see the memorials built in their honor, but she too has a story to tell.
So I was born July 18th and he was killed October.
Blinksma was just 3 months old when her dad, an Air Force captain, was killed in Vietnam. He was 28 years old. Hours before we caught up with Blinksma, we visited here, where the sunrise shines brightly on the very symbol that embodies some of the darkest days in U.S. history. At dawn, it's so peaceful. Hours later, it becomes a backdrop of emotion set free.
This is a picture of me in Vietnam, 1969.
The marble wall is emblazoned with 58,000 names representing those who died in Vietnam.
I guess God didn't want me to die that day. He must have had other plans for my life. Right after this picture, we got hit.
Wayne Henning survived. He was 21 years old when this picture was taken. Barely more than a kid when his fellow soldiers died around him. Each memento is a calling card of remembrance, each with a different memory attached. For Blinksma, it wasn't something she left behind, but something received.
Just to have any part of him, because it's always a special thing. Any piece you can get. When you have nothing, then it's a huge honor to just have any piece.
Each year, over 5 million people visit the wall that sits within the National Mall in Washington, D.C. People like the veterans and volunteers with Inland Northwest Honor Flight.
There's some power in that wall. I think maybe you have to have been in Vietnam to experience the power. And the people that I came to honor, I did find.
People lost, now found. Snapshots capture a moment in time, a story that has a different ending for everyone. For Honor Flight veterans and family, the ending here helps continue the story long after they leave. And honor flights are designed to honor any veteran who has served our country, and that's including, of course, women. In fact, on the trip, the group makes a stop at the Military Women's Memorial.
We have that mission to recognize all women who have ever served in the United States military since the time of the American Revolution.
The Military Women's Memorial works to preserve the stories and history of women in the military. Many of those jobs were behind the scenes or even secret. Throughout history, women have had to disguise themselves as men in order to serve, but of course, no longer the case. And now women can be rightly honored for their service. We traveled with 2 female veterans who were honored for their service while visiting the memorial.
And I was a burn nurse, where the soldiers that came back from Vietnam with the horrible burns, I was responsible for putting them in the tanks and scrubbing their burns, and it was a hard job.
I worked in secured spaces where just up until recently it was a declassified mission that we spied on Soviet submarines. And that's all I'm going to say.
That's all she is going to say. You can visit the Military Women's Memorial. It's in Arlington, and learn about fascinating women in our military history. And giving our veterans the gift of honor is possible by volunteering for Inland Northwest Honor Flight. The local chapter of the nonprofit is looking for what they call guardians. Guardians on the trip help escort veterans to Washington, D.C. to see all those memorials. The Guardians help make sure the veterans have all the support they need to travel comfortably and safely. The volunteers do pay their own way on the trip, which is $950, but people who make the trip say it is worth every dollar.
It's honor flight. I feel like I'm the one that gets the honor to be able to help this happen. It just feels rewarding, it's emotional, it's fun, and just a little bit of giving back for all the service that these people have done for all of us, for our country.
By the way, the veterans that travel on Honor Flight, they pay nothing for the trip. It is free for all the veterans traveling. So if you are interested in being a volunteer, just scan the QR code on your screen and we'll get you connected to the Inland Northwest Honor Flight webpage. All right, our KREM Cares Salute to Service special, it's just getting started. And still ahead, we'll show you the new way that the Colville tribe is honoring the women who help support our service members. Plus,
he'd been shot 4 times. He was all wounded. He couldn't do much, but he threw himself on the grenade and saved everybody in the foxhole.
So do you know the story of Joey Mann? We'll show you what's being done to remember and honor this local war hero.
KREM Cares Salute to Service is sponsored by the Kalispel Tribe of Indians as part of their commitment to military and veterans.
Welcome back to the KREM Cares Salute to Service special. I'm Laura Papetti. The Colville tribe has had a veterans monument since 1987. And as KREM 2's Nathan Hyun shows us, there's now a new monument to honor the women who help support the military.
On a windy Veterans Day in Nespelem, a small group of people from the Confederated Tribes of the Colville Reservation gathered to honor current and past veterans.
We like to put people in the spotlight that do good things.
Andy Joseph's a veteran and a part of the Colville Tribes. He helped organize the Veterans Day ceremony.
I really wish that more people knew that per capita wise, Native Americans serve our country more than any race.
This year featured a special treat, the unveiling of a new monument. It features the names of women who served in the Women's Auxiliary, a group who provided health and supportive services for the military. honoring women like Barbara Aripa.
Every year, you know, we don't forget them. We love them, pray for them.
At 92 years old, Aripa's lived on the Colville Reservation her whole life.
All the ones that are on the wall here are part of us.
And still ahead on our Salute to Service special, we'll tell you about the efforts to honor an Eastern Washington war hero who gave his life to save his fellow soldiers.
KREM Cares Salute to Service is sponsored by the Kalispel Tribe of Indians as part of their commitment to military and veterans.
KREM 2 is dedicated to honoring the military in our community, both those living and those who made the ultimate sacrifice. Our next story takes us to Reardon, where the community is working on a memorial to honor Joe E. Mann. And as KREM 2's Mark Hanrahan tells us, if you haven't heard of Private First Class Mann, well, that is about to change.
Since it's likely that children will meet cruel enemies, let them hear the stories of brave knights and courageous heroes.
It's that C.S. Lewis quote that inspired Bern Bennett to say something and put it in writing.
Nobody knows what he did or how he grew up here.
Bennett recently wrote a book based on his uncle's life, but long before he put pen to paper, the story began. Here, at a small farmhouse set back from a country road in Reardon, Washington.
There was 9 children altogether. Joe, I believe, was the 5th one down, and they just worked out here on the farm, all of them.
It is a story told for the first time of Private First Class Joe E. Mann.
He just wanted to serve his country.
Joe E. Mann was a Reardon High School football player in the 1940s. He broke his collarbone while playing, but refused to leave the game. Just a few years later, while serving in Europe during World War II as a paratrooper with the 101st Airborne Division, Mann gave his life for his teammates on the battlefield.
When the grenade came in, he screamed, "Grenade!"
On September 18, 1944, Mann, who had been wounded 4 times, refused to leave his fellow soldiers.
His arms were taped down to his sides. He'd been shot 4 times. He was all wounded. He couldn't do much, but he threw himself on the grenade and saved everybody in the foxhole.
Mann would be awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor posthumously in 1945, but nearly 80 years later, many people don't know his story.
If you go to Best Holland, everything is about Joe Mann over there.
A world away from Reardon, Joe Mann is celebrated near the place where he died. Kids study him in school. Restaurants are named in his honor. Memorials stand as a remembrance to his bravery.
It would be Joe's sister that painted this picture from seeing the monument.
And now there is a rallying cry to get Joe Mann's story told here at home.
You'll enter from this side into the memorial.
Reardon Mayor Gail Daniels and local wrestling coach Wayne Terry have committed to sharing Mann's story. They plan to resurrect history in this now empty field.
The Joe Mann and Area Veterans Memorial. That's its title.
Terry wants to instill the importance of flag and country, of service and sacrifice to the next generation. A veteran himself, he wants everyone to know the story of Mann and use it to better serve our local veterans.
I just want them to acknowledge that their freedom, the freedom that we live in, was paid for by someone else.
After 6 years of working on the project, the two recently penned a deal with the local school district to use its land to build the memorial. It's a monumental effort to build a monument, likely more than $1 million in value.
We didn't know what we were doing. We just started making phone calls and involving more people, and the chain of people just kept growing and growing.
The fight to honor Joe Mann's legacy has warriors on all fronts: family, veterans, politicians, writers, all hoping to complete the same mission.
He saved a lot of people that day.
Mann lost his ability to use his voice all those years ago, but there are others who are now willing to speak for him, others willing to propel him into the future. Now it's their hope that people will be there to listen and learn about Private First Class Joe E. Mann.
Also, we wanted to take a moment and share some information about New Beginnings in Post Falls, Idaho, and how you might be able to support our local military families and veterans. New Beginnings is a place where military members, veterans, and Gold Star families can go to get basic household goods, clothing, and resources at no charge. The nonprofit takes both gently used items and cash donations. And if you want to find out more about New Beginnings, you can visit their website, or better yet, stop by in person. And something as simple as a handmade card can go a long way towards showing a veteran how much you care. In February, we visited the Spokane Veterans Home to hand out handmade Valentines to our nation's heroes as part of the KREM Cares Valentines to Veterans campaign. 2023 was the first time since COVID that the Spokane Veterans Home was able to host us.
It's great that we're all together. It's great that we get to be all among each other.
So as you just heard, being together and celebrating was an exciting change for many of the veterans who have missed gathering with friends and family. And the Veterans Home is there for you to support. Coming up next on KREM 2's mission to make sure every service member who is deployed from Fairchild Air Force Base knows they are being thought of during the holiday season. KREM Cares Treats to Troops has a very simple mission, and it is to make sure every deployed member at Fairchild Air Force Base receives a holiday care package. This past year, a group of local elementary school students spent part of their day making cards for our local service members. Behind the organized chaos,
it's a cat.
You'll see a plan coming together.
I'm trying to draw a Christmas tree. I'm not very good at drawing a Christmas tree.
It brings a lot of joy to me just walking around and seeing what they're doing, so I can't imagine the person on the other end of that once they open up their box.
Kirsten Lyons volunteers at Woodridge Elementary with teacher Stacy Reich.
Nice job. That's beautiful.
We're neighbors and friends.
And around this time each year,
oh, that's coming out so well.
They bring their friendship to the classroom to support KREM Cares Treats to Troops.
My neighbor Kirsten, she lost her son in Afghanistan. My class that year happened to create some posters for her for Memorial Day, and then we just started getting to know each other, and that's kind of how this all began.
The Treats to Troops effort ensures that men and women deployed from Fairchild Air Force Base this holiday season get a care package sent to them.
They celebrate the holidays without their family, so if we do these cards, it thanks them and makes them feel happiness.
It means a lot to me because when my son was deployed, he got a box from Treats to Troops. I know what that meant to him, and to know that service members now will receive those same boxes and some beautiful cards from some great kids.
We wish you a Merry Christmas.
The simplest words
And a meowing good year.
Send a strong message.
If we did not have Army, Navy, Marines, and all of that, we would probably not be walking on this earth. Thank you.
The cards will be put into Treats to Troops boxes, and this year we hope to send between 300 and 400 care packages, sending love to people all around the world so they can feel close to home. Thank you for watching the KREM Cares Salute to Service special. We are grateful to be able to honor our military members, veterans, and Gold Star families as part of Salute to Service. And we hope this special provides you with opportunities and ideas to serve those who have served us. I'm Laura Papetti. Thank you for watching.
KREM Cares Salute to Service is sponsored by the Kalispel Tribe of Indians as part of their commitment to military and veterans.